Morning, students. We're back for another yoga session, making sure my camera is in the right place. Welcome back for our slow flow this Tuesday morning. Before we get started, if you need to take a moment to find any props, I'm using yoga blocks today. If you have a pillow or a bolster or some kind of a blanket or a towel rolled up, you could use those as well. I'm also using a strap, or at least having it handy in case I need that. So a strap, a tie, a belt of some sort. Thank you again for coming back to join me for our morning yoga practice. Again, this is Slow Flow. My name is Annie from MP, Mindful Palette, movement practitioner, Milwaukee Proud. I'm happy to bring you these classes in conjunction with the Milwaukee Rec Department. Very grateful that we can stay connected during this time. So with our Slow Flow class, if you remember from last week, it's a gentle flow where we keep our postures moving with our breath, but in a slower fashion than a regular vinyasa flow, where it's usually one breath, one movement. So in this class, I also like to offer a little bit more core work. So I will bring that to you again today and see if we can start to fire up our core a little bit, but then also focus on breathing techniques. So we'll begin today starting on our backs in a supported fish pose. So if you haven't tried this before, what I recommend is one block under the head and one block under the the upper back. I like it to go across the shoulder blades. You might like that block to be down the spine instead. So you choose. The head can be higher, it can be at the same level, it can be lower. So find a place where you might feel comfortable on blocks, bolster, pillows, whatever you wish, or just skip the support and just lie on your back in more of a Shavasana for our opening posture. So once you arrive, let yourself really just feel heavy on the mat or on the block. See if you can release tension from the legs, the backside, the shoulders. Let those arms open up. Think about opening up that chest or that heart. Allowing yourself to feel supported by the earth. And again, let that weight of your body just drip into the mat. And once you arrive there, start to notice your breath. Maybe you've got your eyes closed. Notice the quality of your breath today. Do you feel like you can breathe deeply and slowly, or are you taking short, shallow breaths? What can you do in the next few rounds to deepen and lengthen those breaths? Maybe you find a count, inhaling for a certain number of counts, and then exhaling equally for that same number of counts. And picture that breath rising to the top of your head and then descending to the base of the spine. So notice the stillness here. Notice any sensations that are coming up in your body or thoughts in your mind. And without bringing judgment to any of those feelings or thoughts, just notice and then let them pass. Bringing yourself right here, right now, to this place, to this breath. And when you're ready, I invite you to set your intention for this practice this morning. What do you need at this moment in your week, in your day, in this season? Take one more round of breath as you let that intention settle in. And then I invite you to stay on those blocks if you wish, or you could begin to move yourself off as we lower to the mat and begin our first pranayama or mindful breathing exercise. So take a moment to adjust if you want to bring yourself off of those blocks. So in this next breath, we'll take a full inhalation. And then as we exhale, practicing Bhramari or bee's breath. So we're going to hum or buzz as we let that breath out. You can take this at your own pace. We'll take a full inhalation and then buzz or hum, letting that out. This is wonderful when we're all together because we create this beautiful vibration. So you'll just have to stay with your own vibration and your own buzzing there at home. So take that breath in, let it out. Bzzz. One more. And then you can press into those elbows and begin to gently lift yourself off of those blocks. That Bhramari breath is a good one to warm up your voice. So if any of you are singers, or you do spoken word, or whatever you need to warm up your voice, that's a good one to use. I love how it allows us to have a really long exhalation, to really draw that out, push all that air out of our bodies. So from here, from this flat position now, we will bring our arms and legs into a full body stretch. So reaching those arms and legs in opposite directions. Take a big breath in here, and then exhale. Let's curl those knees in, lift that chest up to the knees. We'll take another big breath here, stretch out, and then exhale, take those arms and legs over to one side. Maybe you take that left hand, pull the right wrist up over the head, hook that right ankle over the left. Inhale back through center. Exhale over to the other side, taking that right hand, pulling left wrist over the head, hooking left ankle over the right. Leave those shoulders and hips on the mat, back to center. Take a long, full body stretch here. And then we'll gently pull those knees into the chest once again. Hug those knees, and we'll send those legs up to the sky. So taking those feet, let the bottoms of the feet come together, or even the inner blade of those feet. And once you do, then bring those hands to the ankles. So it's like we have our knees wide, but we don't quite have the soles of the feet together. So just enough so that you can reach for those ankles or the calves or your pants, and then start to extend those legs. So you may find that your tailbone leaves the mat, and that's okay. So my knees here, as you can see, my knees are very bent. My legs are not warmed up enough that I could take them completely straight yet, or maybe not at all. So I'm just going to start to push through the heels, straightening those legs and bending as much as I can for now. I want to relax my shoulder blades on the mat if I can. We're just warming up the spine, so consider this a forward fold, but in a different orientation. So if we're sitting upright, this is us taking that forward fold, that Paschimottanasana pose. So here, just pressing through the heels and then slowly releasing. You might have your fingers on your toes instead. I like to take those ankles and just gently pressing there. And you could really extend those feet, maybe roll onto the back a little bit more. That's up to you. And then let those feet stay up to the sky. We're going to start to engage the core here already. Bringing those hands behind the head, cradling the base of the skull, or you could take those fingers straight up towards the toes. And we'll start to take some gentle crunches up. Take an inhalation as you're lying flat, and then exhale as you reach up for those toes. So again, we can have those fingers reaching up for the toes. They don't have to touch. Or you can have those hands cradling the base of the skull. Keep this chest flat. So as you bring it up, it's coming straight up instead of crunching that neck and looking towards the knees. Keep that gaze up towards the sky and lift that chest. Take your time here. Exhale as you come up. Inhale down. Again, we're just beginning, so this doesn't have to be extreme. Quality over quantity. Keep those elbows wide. See if you can keep them out of your periphery. If you've chosen to cradle that skull, let's take 2 more here. And then we'll bring those hands down by our sides and slowly begin to lower those legs. Let's flex the feet. Press that lower back into the earth. Notice that engagement with the core and strong lower back. Hover those feet above the mat if you wish. Couple of breaths here. And then inhale, point the toes, bring those legs back up. Let's take 1 more leg lower here. So flexing those feet, exhale, press that lower back into the earth. Press through those heels. Hover the feet if you wish. And then inhale, slowly bring those legs back up. We'll bend the knees, bring those knees in towards the armpits. Flex those feet. Soles shine up to the sky. Taking those peace fingers to the big toes. Or maybe you have your calves, ankles, or the insides of the feet. Finding happy baby. Once you arrive, find some movement here from side to side. Maybe you'd like to gently stretch one leg out and then the other. And as you find yourself here in happy baby, allow those shoulder blades to rest on the earth. If you feel like your tailbone went up, maybe it is because of where you're reaching for your feet. See if you can extend that spine and roll that tailbone to flat. Sometimes at least picturing that movement in our minds allows us to extend that spine and stretch out. Draw those knees in towards the armpits 1 more time. And then release the bind. And we'll take those knees wide and just start to make some circles here with the hips. You can take those knees in opposite directions. Maybe you keep the knees together and you're moving them around both directions. Bring those knees into the chest. Drop the feet down for just a moment so that we can lift and shift those hips to the right. Arms can be in a T now. Tuck those knees back in and then send them down to the left side. We'll take our gaze away from the knees over the right fingertips. Finding that twist, maybe extending that right leg for just a moment, finding a deeper stretch through the right hip. If you straighten that leg, then we'll bend it back in. Come back to center, tuck those knees in. But then we'll lift and shift those hips to the left for a moment. Bring knees back in and then send them over to the right. We take our gaze over the left fingertips. Maybe stretching that leg out, getting a deeper stretch through the left hip. And then back in and all the way to center. Place those feet down, center the hips again, and take another full body stretch. Reach out. We'll keep those legs long. Bring those hands to cradle the skull once more. And we'll take some more crunches, but leaving that body flat. Press that lower back into the mat and lift up as if you have a plate on the chest and you have to lift it straight up. Exhale as you come up. Inhale down. 1 more. And release. So bring yourself to your side now, gently rolling onto the side, and then onto your belly. I'm going to turn here so that you can see what I'm doing with my hands. So from this belly, this face down position, we're going to take a shoelace with our hands. So stay with me if you haven't seen this before. Starting with my right hand, I'm threading it underneath the left, taking the left, crossing it over the top. So I've kind of got this shoelace here, reaching those hands out to the opposite directions. And you can let your head sort of relax. You don't have to try to hold your head up. Just let it relax, which might allow you to have a deeper stretch. So this could be a stretch across the shoulder blades. Maybe you're feeling it more through the chest. Release into this posture here. One more breath. And then gently start to walk those hands back into the center. And we'll bring those hands underneath the, we'll bring the hands out so that the arms are parallel. The elbow is underneath the shoulder, and those arms are about shoulder width apart. So moving into our Sphinx pose, you can let the tops of those feet rest on the mat. In your next breath, lift with the lower back, drop shoulders away from the ears, and find that stretch, that strength through the lower back. If you're feeling any compression there, pull that navel into the spine. One more breath here, and then slowly release, and we'll take that shoelace to the other side. So now I'm bringing my other arm underneath. So whichever one you had on top, let's switch it. I'm walking those hands out in opposite directions. Again, allow yourself to just sort of drape into this posture, noticing that stretch across the upper back or through the chest. Keep the breath moving here. And then gently walk those hands back into center. And we'll take those arms parallel again, but this time walking them another hand's distance out so that those shoulders, the elbow is ahead of the shoulder, but still shoulder width apart. So from here, in your next breath, lift with that lower back again, pull those shoulders away from the ears, but begin to straighten those arms a little bit more. So maybe you're putting more pressure into the fingers and the hands. If you want to go deeper, you can walk up to your fingertips. I know you may not be able to see me, so I've got my fingertips on the floor like that, just to get another inch or even a centimeter higher with that lower back. Pull the navel into the spine. One more breath, and then slowly release. Let's bring those hands underneath the shoulders. Press back into child's pose to counter those back bends that we just took. Send those hips back to the heels, reach those hands out in front of you. One breath here, and then we'll come down to our bellies, bringing hands underneath the shoulders. One more back bend here, elbows into the sides. In your next breath, lift up with that lower back into cobra. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift up again, maybe bringing the hands off the earth this time, so you know that you're using that lower back and not pressing through the hands or the arms. Lower down. And then we'll send ourselves back into that child's pose once again. Take a breath, let it out, return to your intention if you wish. And then make your way to tabletop position. Wrists, elbows, shoulders are stacked. We have those knees underneath the hips. And just allow that back to neutralize, but pull that belly into the spine. Gaze is just out ahead of the hands. Moving into our next pranayama. This is our 3-part complete breath, our Durga breath. We've done this a few times in the last week, but from a different position. So we'll try it here in tabletop. In your next breath, as you inhale and dip down into cow, so we let the chin and the tailbone rise, we notice the belly leading, and then the ribs, and then the chest. As you exhale, pull that belly up, pull the ribs in, and let that chest tuck. So moving between cow and cat, so we inhale belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, belly, ribs, chest. Really draw your attention to those 3 parts of your breath. Continuing to warm up the spine here. Take this at your own pace. Let's take one more round. Again, really focusing on the movement of the spine, the movement of the breath. And then neutralize here in that tabletop position. We'll send those hands out just ahead of the shoulders. Tuck the toes. Send those hips high to our first downward facing dog. Walk it out here. Pedal those feet. Maybe you'd like to walk those feet in closer to the hands. Press those heels down. Notice how that feels with the calves or the feet to take that more narrow stance. You could go way up on the toes. Maybe you dip those knees down. Or even shift side to side. Just explore this pose. Reach that chest, that heart back towards the thighs. And then in your next breath, we'll raise that right leg up to the sky. Exhale, crunch forward to the chest. Inhale, back up. Exhale to the same side elbow. Inhale up. Exhale, cross over. Inhale up one more time. And then we'll send that right knee through to the right wrist for pigeon pose. So if you haven't tried pigeon before, you might take a block to that hip. Sometimes in pigeon, teachers will talk about bringing that leg parallel to the front of the mat. We're all built differently, so I don't expect myself to be able to do that, knowing how my hips allow me to move. So I'm okay with having that front leg on an angle. If this doesn't feel good to you, you could also take this from your back in more of a figure 4 position. So just know that that's an option as well, to cross that foot over. If you're in that upright pigeon, you have some options here. We're still going to take a few breaths. So you could stay right here on your hands. Maybe you want to get a deeper back bend here, so you're propping yourself up on a block or a pillow and noticing that stretch in the back. Maybe you want to go deeper and focus on the shoulders or the hips, so you rest lying down. Allow that spine to stay straight. So if you need a block under the head to keep that spine straight, take a moment to find that prop of some sort. One more breath here. And then start to walk back up to those hands. Tuck the toes on the left foot. Inhale, send that right leg back up to the sky. And then sweep it through to low lunge on this side. So we have that front knee over the ankle. The top of the back foot is resting on the mat. I'm shifting my right hip back, sending that left hip forward. I can rest hands on the thigh. Maybe you have blocks for your hands. You can sweep those arms up for a moment. Reach up one more time, breathe in, and then bring those hands down to heart center. We'll place those hands on the mat and shift back into our half splits. I'm gonna grab my blocks for a moment because I know I like to use those for support in that half split. So I'm sending my hips back towards the back of the mat, and I'm bringing these blocks underneath my hands. So I have that nice stacking happening here. And I'm folding like a jackknife over that front leg. So I'm reaching through the crown of my head as I inhale and then folding forward. So trying not to hunch over like this, but keep that long spine, maybe even taking that opposite hand to that front foot. And if you find that you've got these blocks and your arms are starting to bend, then you could lower the blocks. Maybe you ease your way down with each breath. One more breath here. And then we'll bring ourselves back to that low lunge. Frame the front foot, tuck the toes on the back foot. Inhale back up to the sky and down here into our downward facing dog. Walk it out. And when you're ready, we inhale that left leg up. Exhale, crunch it forward. Inhale back up. Crunch it to the left elbow or same side elbow. Inhale back up. Exhale, cross it over. Back to the sky, and then bringing that left knee to the left wrist for pigeon on this side, or maybe you're taking that on your back. So creep that back foot straight. Again, use that prop under the left hip if you wish, and then you decide what you would like to get out of this pose. So if you want more of a back bend, you could prop yourself up here. You could creep down gently onto forearms, or maybe all the way down, resting on the mat. Keep that keep that spine long. So if you need to have a block here, use whatever props you wish to keep that spine nice and long. Again, instead of automatically crunching over, see if we can create length in this posture. Keep your breath moving here. If that becomes too intense for the shoulders to reach out, you can certainly rest those forearms on the mat, or even fold those arms in, supporting your head with those stacked hands. One more breath. Start to come back up to the center. We'll tuck the toes, tuck the foot on the right side, and then inhale that left leg back up. Exhale, bring it forward into low lunge on this side. So take your time. It takes you a couple of steps to get there. That front knee is over the ankle. This back knee is behind the hip if you can get it there. So instead of having just a kneeling position, and maybe that's where you are today, maybe you're reaching back with that leg and getting that knee behind the hip for a deeper stretch through the hip flexor, the quadricep, and then the left hip. So you could have blocks under the hands here. Maybe you have hands on the thigh. Shift that left hip back, right hip forward. Or you could sweep those arms up, reaching hands to the sky, drop shoulders away. Breath is moving here. One more breath in. Exhale, hands down. And then we bring those hands down to blocks or to the earth and shift back into that half splits. Again, take those blocks with you if you wish. Give yourself support. Send those hips back to the heels. Reach the crown of that head forward as you breathe in, and then fold like a jackknife towards that leg again. Instead of crunching over, see if you can create length here. Maybe taking that right hand to the left toes. One more breath here. And then we shift into that low lunge once again. Frame the front foot, tuck the toes on that right foot. Send that left leg back up to the sky and down to your downward facing dog. Walk it out. In the next couple of breaths here, we're going to make our way to the top of the mat. I'll give you a couple of options. You can bend the knees, look towards the hands, step or hop towards the front of the mat. Maybe you'd like to take a float or one movement and find your way into that seated position. So some people like to float right into that position. Let's stretch out those legs here, moving into a forward fold. If you'd like to use a strap or a tie, at this point you can wrap that around the balls of the feet, giving yourself a little bit more length. Take a breath in, reach that heart up to the sky, and then start to fold forward. Again, using those props to your advantage. The main thing here again is keep that long spine. So as you breathe in, reach the crown of that head forward, and then exhale, melt that heart. So again, instead of crunching over like this, see if you can create length. Your hands may not touch your feet. Let them touch something, whether it's the legs, the earth, blocks, the strap. Let them be supported. That chin tucks slightly so we have that neutral neck. So you don't have to look forward. You don't have to try to crunch the chin down to the chest. Maybe you're looking at the calves or the ankles. One more breath in, reach the crown of that head out. Exhale, fold a little bit more deeply, and then come all the way up. I'm going to turn towards the front so you can see. I'm bringing this right leg in to begin, and I'm going to either place that foot next to my long leg, or I'm going to cross it over if that foot goes flat. So you choose where you'd like to be this morning. Once you arrive, we'll bring the same arm as the knee that's up to the sky, rotate it around, make that kickstand behind us. Hug or hook the other elbow, grow tall as you breathe in, and then exhale, twist, look behind you. Your next breath brings you back to center. We'll take that 180 here, unwinding, counter twisting, and back to the center. And then we'll take the other side. But first, let's take another forward fold. So again, maybe you have that strap around the balls of the feet. We'll inhale, reach up, lift that heart. Exhale, fold forward. Lengthen that spine. With each breath, maybe you can go a little bit more deeply into this posture. Take a moment to revisit that intention, perhaps. One more breath in. Exhale, fold, and then come all the way back up. This time we'll take that other knee into the chest, plant that foot or cross it over if you wish. We'll rotate that other arm, make that kickstand behind us, hug or hook the other elbow. Grow tall, breathe in, and then exhale, twist. Take a couple rounds of breath here as you twist. And then come back to the center. We'll take that 180 here for that counter turn. and then come back to the center. Moving into some more core work here as we work into some boat poses. So bringing those feet ahead of us, heels are rooted on our mat, tipping that torso back slightly so you can stay right here for this boat pose, Navasana. Maybe you have your hands on the thighs, maybe you let those hands come away, maybe you lift those heels. Decide where you'd like to be for this first boat pose today. Engaging that core as we lean back. Find a steady gazing point either at your toes or just beyond your toes. Think about lifting the crown of that head up, lengthening the spine. One more breath in. And then exhale, hug those knees. We'll take one more boat here, one more regular boat. So bringing those heels out once again, leaning the torso back. You decide where you want to go this time. Maybe that last one was too much. Maybe you want to go deeper this time. So you could bring those legs straight. You can bring these hands to a number of places. You could even take a bind, bringing those peace fingers to the toes, or even bringing those legs wide, focusing more on balance. Keep that core engaged. So again, you decide where you are in this version of your boat pose. I'm shaking here. So I feel my quadriceps working. I feel my core is engaged. I'm gonna stay here at my edge. Keep breathing, I'm wiggling around. One more breath in and exhale, hug those knees. Good work. All right, we'll take another round of boat, but this is going to be our row boat. So again, bring those heels out. We'll tip the torso back. You can leave those heels on the earth or you could bring them up. Starting to twist from side to side. So take a breath here, take an in-breath in the center. Exhale as you move to one side. Inhale, exhale. Moving back and forth with your breath at your own pace. So if you're pulling this out of your practice at any point, sometimes we know this as a Russian twist. You can use a weight. You could even use a weight in your yoga practice. But for today, we're focusing on that balance. We're focusing on that breath. Take a couple more to each side. And then pausing here in the center, maybe we can extend those legs. I'm going to turn back to the side, stay where you are. And we can start to lower down slowly. Lowering down, challenging yourself, hovering perhaps, and then finally lowering down. Shake that out. Maybe you bring those knees into the chest and rock back and forth. We'll take those legs back up to the sky where we had them before. If you have that strap or tie, you might like to use it this time for more core engagement here. So we're going to inhale, walk those hands up the strap, exhale, slowly lower down. And again, think about creating length as you do this. So press through those heels, keep that chest flat, and the crown of that head moving away from the tailbone. Use your breath. So we can do yoga without all of the postures. We can practice, I should say, by just using our breath. But if we're doing or practicing postures and stretches and we're not focusing on our breath, then technically that is not yoga. So even following the breath here, very closely, drawing your attention to your breath, being mindful, can help our focus. So release that there. Again, keep those feet up to the sky. Reach through the heels. Let's just bend and straighten here a little bit. Bring those knees into the chest. We'll extend that left leg long. Keep that right knee pulled in. Maybe take that right knee out to the side, opening up that hip. Keep that left hip anchored. You can bring that left hand out to the side. Bring that right knee back towards the center. Left hand comes to the right knee. We can take that right hand out to the side in a T. Take a breath in here at the center, and then exhale, slowly draw that right knee across. Spinal twist here. Keep reaching through those right fingertips, keeping that right shoulder on the mat. Maybe you want to stretch this right leg long, getting more of a stretch through that right hip. Press through the heel. If you straighten that leg, we'll bend it back in. Come back to center and stretch that leg out long. When you're ready, we'll pull that left knee in, give it a hug. And then send that left knee out to the side, opening up that hip, anchoring that right hip on the earth. Moving that knee back to center, gently take that right hand to the left knee, left arm goes out to the side, breath in. And then exhale, bring that left knee across the body, twisting here, taking that gaze away from the knee. Maybe you want to straighten that leg, stretching into that left hip a little bit more. And then if you straighten that leg, we'll bend it back in. Come back to center, stretch that leg out. Take that full body stretch here. Hug those knees. Inhale, expand this time to that 5-pointed star. Maybe we hover, challenge the core. Exhale, contract into that ball. Take this movement a few times at your own pace with your breath. Again, maybe you'd like to hover those arms and legs, challenging the core. Stay with your breath. Last one here. Curl into that ball. Rest those shoulders on the mat. We'll take those feet down and then gently peel those knees wide. Soles of the feet are together here. Those knees are wide. Maybe you're resting your arms above the head, mimicking the shape of those knees with the elbows. So elbows and knees melt into the earth. Anchor that lower back into your mat. Maybe return to your intention for a moment. Check in. Notice, but don't judge. Take a breath here. And moving into our last bit of core work, we have our rope pulls. So there's a rope between our knees, imaginary rope, and we take one hand and then the other, and we're pulling ourselves up. So exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. I know some people like to creep up on a big exhale and then inhale here. So exhale as you're doing the work in whatever order or pace that is for you. And decide what you're pulling yourself towards. This is a lower abdominal focus here. I'm keeping my gaze up towards the sky and thinking about lifting that chest instead of crunching over like that. Take a couple more. Draw your attention to those lower abdominals. And release. Bring those arms to a T. Take a big breath in here with the knees wide. And then exhale, draw that left knee all the way over to the right. Close those knees up like a book. Full body twist here. Inhale, knees wide. Exhale, take that right knee over to the left. Again, squeeze those knees together. Get that whole body twist here, really feeling that stretch through the right side. And back and forth at your own pace. So inhale, open knees wide. Exhale, one over to the other. Maybe closing the eyes. And really focusing your attention on that breath or on that movement. One more to each side or even out where you are here. And then from that wide knee position in that reclined bound angle pose, Supta Baddha Konasana, I invite you to bring your hands to your belly, moving into our last pranayama. This is our 4-7-8 breath. This is the Dr. Andrew Weil 4-7-8 breath. Good for working through anxiety or insomnia. Keep this one in your toolbox. In your next breath, inhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath here. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, blow out through a straw for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale through that straw. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take 2 more rounds at your own pace of that 4, 7, 8 breath. Maybe you'd like to draw out those counts, really challenging your lung capacity on that retention in the middle. When you're finished, and please take your time there, you can gently bring those knees back in. Take any other stretches or movements that you wish to complete your practice this morning, or whatever time of day you are doing this practice. They're all archived on my page. And when you're ready, find yourself in that final relaxation pose in Shavasana. Maybe you're lying flat on your mat, legs are loose, arms are by your sides, breathing normally here. Release any other tension that you might be holding in your body. Begin to bring your attention back to your space. Find some gentle movement in the body, wiggle fingers and toes. Stretch those arms and legs in opposite directions. Maybe bringing those knees into the chest. You could rock back and forth, lower back massage. Make your way to one side of your mat. Take a breath there, just pause. Let that breath flow very mindfully. And then when you're ready, press yourself up with that top arm, come to a seated position. Tall spine here. I invite you to bring your hands to heart center. Maybe your eyes are closed. Notice the base of the thumbs touching the chest. Notice each finger pressing into that on the other hand. No matter where you are on your journey, this week, this year, or in this whole lifetime, I thank you for pausing this morning to share this practice with me. The light, love, and peace in me recognizes and honors the light, love, and peace in each of you. Namaste. Thank you for coming to your mats this morning. I thank you for joining me. I thank Milwaukee Recreation Department for making this possible. Keep moving, keep breathing. We've got these tools with these breathing techniques. You can go back and review any of these practices that we've done in the last week. They're all posted and archived on my page. I wish you health today. I wish you some peace. Have a good one. Thank you.